and the Lakes area, they're proud to support local farmers just like you. Call them today at Lake Cabin Meat and Deli Company, where quality meets tradition.
The Minnesota Department of Veterans Affairs, together with the Minnesota Department of Military Affairs, reinvest individual contributions of $30 when motorists buy a Support Our Troops license plate at any Minnesota Driver and Vehicle Services Deputy Registrar location. Purchasing a Support Our Troops license plate is a way to show your support daily while driving your vehicle and contribute funds to help support our troops and their families. Please purchase a Support Our Troops license plate to show your support for those who serve.
It's Morning Talk on News Talk 1250 KBRF, brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. Now, here's Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop.
Good Tuesday morning. It is 11 after 9 and 47 right now in Fergus Falls. And Mary, I was thinking about it when I was pushing all these buttons. It'd be almost kind of fun to leave my camera on and start streaming long before we actually get on, just so they could see just the amount of buttons and pushing and sliding.
I think you should. I think you should leave it so that people can see the kind of,
chaos that goes on in here.
A little chaotic some days. I mean, some days more than others.
Mondays are very chaotic because I'm coming out of a meeting.
Right. And you're just ending one thing and jumping right into the show.
There's been many times where I've had to wave at the camera and go, I have to go. The intro is going right now.
Yes. Oh, well, yeah, man after my own heart. I like to kind of walk in when the intro is sounding and quickly sit down. A little different now that we're on camera, so we have to be sort of, and you have the control of the camera, so... I never
Mary, I can go me, I can go Mary, I can go me, I can go Mary. And everybody always has asked me, why do you always look off the camera? It's like, well, because that's where all the controls are. Like at the very beginning, I'm actually sliding
same thing.
beyond.
I mean, I could look at the camera like I am right now, but
you need to look
I'm
at me.
talking to Dave.
Yep.
And so it feels weird to look at the camera when I'm talking to Dave. So
yeah, it's like, well, I mean, like right now, even if the camera's on you right now, but if it's on me, I'm kind of staring, past it, but I often look way off to my side, and like at the very beginning, you'll see me kind of slide into frame. It's because I need to make sure that we're streaming and the cameras are on.
Okay.
And the laptop that's the monitor is behind another set of monitors.
Okay, well, there you go. It's all about live stuff, right?
I've got 4 computer screens in front of me
and
right
I got
now.
nothing. I got a phone and, 1 or 2 buttons to push over here, and that is just the way I like it.
And then I've got a keyboard here. I got a phone here.
See, there's a reason that you're in there and I'm in here.
We got a phone here. We got
My
PC computer
goodness.
there. We got the 16-channel board here. We got the next-gen keyboard over here. We've got the camera switchers right here.
Good
and then we've got the thing that, changes from camera to all the graphics
I don't know
way
how
over there.
you do it all. I am not a very good multitasker. So it's a good thing that you are behind the controls and I'm just over here sipping coffee and visiting. So
It was funny, though, because when we talked about starting to stream Morning Talk, Derek Sidian, who's really in charge of our video production elements, he's like, am I going to have to go in there and do that for you guys? And I was like, no, somehow I will manage it.
yeah, so you're talking and pushing all these buttons, and about the most I can do is maybe answer a text from somebody while we're on the air if somebody happens to text us. So, my ability to, go back and forth and do all those things, all that multitasking that you're doing, is not nearly as good as yours. So it's a good thing I'm here for everybody. Oh my goodness. Well, it is, we've made it through a Monday. So that's the good news. Tuesday looks like we got some nice rain last night. I don't know if it was very much, but we did get some rain. There was a little bit of thunder and lightning, which I loved. I had to open the bedroom window just because I needed to hear. I just love to hear rain, especially at this time of the year when we're so used not to having it. So it was kind of nice to hear that. It sounds like we might get some more rain in the next day or two.
Yeah, next couple of days. But it looks like we got 0.2 of an inch.
Oh, okay. And it looks like we might get some more significant rain. At least it looked like we were in the path. Potentially, I think I saw this morning, and how they shade the areas on a map to tell you who's going to get how many inches of snow or how many inches of rain. It looked like we were in the 1 to 2 inch range from Fergus Falls to maybe close to Detroit Lakes and west.
I was gonna say I don't want it to west. I need it east. I need it to sit
Yeah.
right over West Battle and just
Right, and just
pour.
yeah, you do.
And there's rumors.
Buckets.
I've heard rumors on West Battle that some of the issue is that there is
The beaver
a beaver.
dam.
Yeah,
Yeah,
between east and west.
Boy, we can blow that baby up, can't we?
Oh yeah, blow it up, move the beaver from going from West Battle to Annie Battle, put it between there so it kind of blocks the water in for West
Right,
Battle.
exactly. Yeah. Wouldn't it be nice if we could tell the beavers where to,
Oh,
build
that'd be
those
great.
dams? Yeah, we could use one a little further down the way too. Well, I don't know if do you love Colorado?
I've been to Colorado a couple times. I've
Do you
actually
know-
been all around the perimeter of the state.
Okay, I have always till today loved Colorado. Wait till you hear this though. Parental rights advocates are cautioning against a totalitarian transgenderism bill rammed through the Colorado State House. Colorado is so crazy liberal.
Oh yeah.
Anyway, they say it could jeopardize parents' chance to in custody battles if they misgender, and I'm using air quotes, or I've never heard this, dead name their children. Okay, I'm going to explain. This is giving the authority to the state of Colorado to take children away if parents do not agree with these gender transitions. So let's say a kid decides, gosh, I think I'm not a girl anymore. I am going to identify as a boy, and maybe even go so far as to start the process to,
Transition.
to transition into the other gender. Okay, so anyway, it's got huge ramifications for all parents, especially those in custody situations who are fighting with ex-spouses to stop their children from being medicalized. Anyway, she added, it opens the door for all parents to potentially have their children forcibly removed by the state if they are not willing to affirm their child's mental health distress.
Whoa.
So you've got a kid who says, I want to transition. I know I'm a girl, but I want to be a boy. I don't care what you say. If you don't agree, I'm doing this. And if you disagree with that child in the state of Colorado, you could have that child taken away.
Wow.
I mean, that's what I'm reading.
Yeah.
That's ridiculous. Unbelievable. There was another story in the news about Elizabeth Warren, and I feel like we haven't heard too much from her since the last election, and even prior to that. Once, she just kind of got sort of quiet there for a while. Anyway, she has struggled to defend her past praise. Remember, she was the one who was praising then President Biden for his mental acuity.
Oh yeah. Sharp as a tack.
Yep, sharp as a tack. And she got on this Talk Easy with Sam from Fragasso. I'm not familiar with him.
No
It's a
idea.
podcaster. Anyway, it's a left-leaning podcast, and he asked her whether or not she regretted saying that Biden had a sharpness to him up until he dropped out of the presidential race in 2024. Well, when she was asked that, she sat for a moment. In fact, for a couple of moments, she gave a very long pause where she appeared to hold back a laugh at the question. She said, and then she went on to say this, I said I had not seen decline, turning her head and giving him a pointed look, and then he reciprocated, and I hadn't at that point. So she got kind of, kind of defensive. The thing is, Warren began uncertainly, look, he was sharp. He was on his feet. I saw him, live event. I had meetings with him a couple of times. Senator, on his feet is not praise. He can speak in sentences, is not praise. That's what she was told by this host. So the host kind of grilled her and made her look.
Well, he
Not
kept falling
so
upstairs. I mean, that's difficult to do.
Well, and even when he turned around, maybe from, saying something at the podium or whatever, a lot of times he didn't even know which way to go.
No.
Somebody had to lead him off. I mean, it was so obvious to everyone.
That his wife would come over. Good job. Good job.
Yes, yeah. Well, Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth pushed back against New York Times report alleging, again, that he had shared sensitive details involving military airstrikes against Iran-backed Houthis in Yemen in a second signal message. Signal is that
A second one?
okay, but yeah, that included his wife and his brother,
Oh, Lord.
telling Fox and Friends Tuesday that the controversy is an attempt to sabotage President Donald Trump's agenda. If you remember, I said no one is texting our war plans. I said that because I'm in the bowels of the Pentagon every single day. What was shared over Signal then during the first leak and now was informal, unclassified coordinations for media coordination and other things. And that's what he told to Brian Kilmeade. Who's
I got an idea. Let's get off Signal. Just
well,
a thought.
I'm kind of thinking so, yeah. At the beginning, it was left-wing reporters at The Atlantic who got a hold of it and then wanted to create a problem for the president. Well,
I think you created the problem.
yeah, but okay, here's another case of what do we believe? Because
Yeah.
I've read a couple of reports that the reporting was completely, I mean, it's fake news, it's false, it didn't happen, there wasn't, but he did something,
Yeah.
and he's now saying that it was unclassified. Okay, maybe so. But maybe his wife and his brother, maybe that should be, a conversation they have in their living room with their feet up on the coffee
Yeah.
table and no phones. I don't know. But so the president is standing behind him again, but he's certainly, at least
He's making things difficult.
from the reports that I have seen, this was a Fox News story that I read. So they're not saying it didn't happen.
Yeah.
I don't know.
And
It seems a little just careless.
And I know somebody who served overseas with Pete Hegseth, and when he was overseas and in command, he had nothing but praise for him. He said,
right.
excellent soldier, excellent person overseas. But I guess, yeah, maybe get off Signal.
Yeah,
Come on,
I
people.
think, yeah.
Get
And
Twitter off, or get Donald off Twitter and True Social, and
Boy,
get
isn't that
Hegseth off Signal.
isn't that the truth? Speaking of Donald, this is kind of funny. Remember President Donald Trump? He was former reality TV show,
Yep, The Apprentice.
The Apprentice.
You're fired.
Right. You're fired. Well, anyway, during season 5, episode 8, The Apprentice in 2006, contestants were given a challenge, as was typical during each episode, and the winners of said challenge got the chance to fly to the nation's capital and have breakfast with Senator Chuck Schumer. Boy, that'd make you gag, huh? Anyway, so sorry, that was not in the story.
Well,
That was my personal reflection.
He was the New York, or still is
Yeah.
the New York senator. It's a New York show.
So it was a big deal. Okay, so during the breakfast, Schumer sought to draw parallels between his family and the Trumps.
Oh, wow.
While also, this is back in 2006 now, he also showered praise on the now president, telling the contestants he always knew Trump, even as a young person. He knew he was going to go places.
Oh, wow.
I was born in Brooklyn, the same place where Donald Trump's family comes from, Schumer reminisced with these contestants during the breakfast. And his father and my grandfather were builders together in Brooklyn. So he basically was kind of praising now President Trump, saying, I knew he was going to go places. So I guess he was right.
Well, they used the phrase that clip didn't age well. I'm guessing that clip did not age well for Chuck Schumer.
No, it did not. And that's the thing. Every time you're on one of those shows, and that's like you and me here, I suppose somewhere, this is going to be archived forever. I don't think I ever say anything that's bright enough for anyone to make probably to make a lot of fun of. Who knows?
Yeah.
But pretty sure that I'm not going to be running for president. So I don't expect anything that I say today to come back and bite me.
I can guarantee I will never run for office. I won't run for dog catcher.
Me neither. I wouldn't run for, and I know a lot of people can do it, and I should have a desire to be involved, but I would never run for school board, for city council. I would never. I don't need that. And we've got people who are far more. They would be so much better in those positions than I.
I did have a politician years ago ask me if I'd ever think about running, and I'm just like, no. I don't have the temperament.
If I would run for city council, and I burst
Laughing.
into laughter.
Yeah.
I'm like, never in a million. And they say never. Yeah,
I can say never.
say never.
Yep.
Yep, for sure. Let's see. We talked about this briefly yesterday. Starting May 7th, Americans and residents need a real ID for air travel or to go to a federal building. So,
Oh, for a federal building, too.
yes, yep. I forgot
Oh.
to say that yesterday.
Oh, I would need
Many
to.
states are not fully compliant. Requirements include proof of identity, a social security number, and they said that at least this was a report, and I can't remember what state it was from. So I suppose it varies from state to state.
Yeah, Minnesota, you need a ton of stuff.
You do. This particular state said you need your social security number. It doesn't have to be a social security card. So it could be like a tax return
Yeah.
or, something official that has your social security number. I don't know if that's the case in Minnesota because try to apply for a new social security card.
Oh.
Oh my goodness. Anyway, you and I had this conversation yesterday. Whole lot easier to just get a passport.
Get a passport.
Anyway, requirements include proof of identity, social security number, and proof of residency, which they say could be, a utility bill or
yeah.
something like that. Over half the states are below 70% compliance, with New Jersey at 17%. Colorado, Florida, and are nearly at 100% compliance. I don't know where Minnesota falls into that, but
Probably pretty low.
yeah. And this is interesting. Trump administration plans to remove petroleum-based synthetic dyes from the nation's food supply. Health Secretary Robert F. Kennedy Jr. asserts that these dyes, commonly used in kids' products, may continue, or rather contribute to behavioral problems. I'm all about like that red dye. But, I mean, it's just there's just nothing good about it. FDA is monitoring their impact, but hasn't confirmed a link. Other countries have similar bans. But I think people would be surprised if you take out some of those harmful color additives, how many of the food choices that you pick every single day would look a whole lot different.
Oh, yeah.
Even red meat.
Really?
Scary. Yeah. Anyway, yeah. So pretty soon we're not going to see, cough syrups aren't going to be red anymore. And who cares if they do the job? I don't care what color they are.
Yeah.
But anyway.
Well, it's like cheese. All cheese is white.
Yeah.
They have to dye it that yellow-orange.
Really?
Yep.
Oh, that sounds awful. Okay. I'm going to buy white cheese. Okay. Coming up on 9:30. Break for the markets, and we're back with more on Morning Talk.
Back with more Morning Talk with Mary Dolan and Dave Bishop. Brought to you by Pioneer Care and Fergus Falls Monument Company. After the markets on News Talk 1250 KBRF. Depend on it.
Today on Hot Talk with the Ox. Right away, hear the latest news surrounding the passing of Pope Francis. At 3:06, hear how the U.S. Supreme Court threw out a Keith Ellison gun control case. At 3:36, Senator Jordan Rasmussen outlines how much we're all paying to give illegal aliens free health care in Minnesota. At 4:06, hear the West Side Liquor Wine Line and fellow Ox listeners' Wines of the Week. See you for Hot Talk with the Ox today from 2 to 5 on KBRF.
What's the Ox say?
Keeping you company out on the lakes, the Minnesota Twins, and News Talk 1250 AM KBRF. Depend on it.
Hey, it's game day again for the Minnesota Twins. I'm Chris Atterbury. Join me alongside Dan Gladden. We hit the air at 6:40 first pitch. Bailey Ober and the Twins tangling with the Chicago White Sox on your home for Twins baseball.
News Talk 1250 AM KBRF. Depend on it.
Whoa, dudes, got a case of spring fever? Let's cure it, retro tropical style. The Fergus Falls Craft Beer Tour presented by Builder's First Source is hitting the Bigwood Event Center on Friday, May 2nd from 5 to 9. Rock those neon windbreakers, soak up the vibes, and sip unlimited craft beverages. And have some fun in the indoor sun with your crew, all in support of the Fergus Falls Area Chamber of Commerce. Thanks to our sponsors Olson Oil, Lakeway Express, and Mike Miller Roofing. Save $10 on tickets at Fergus Falls Liquor.
You never quite know when the next storm is gonna strike. And all it takes is for a little hail to ruin a perfect crop. But you can protect yourself with a hail insurance policy through Ag Country Farm Credit Services. The insurance professionals at Ag Country can help you customize a policy that will fit your farming operation. Protect your revenue today by contacting your local Ag Country office. Ag Country. Focused on ag, focused on you.
Markets this hour brought to you by Ag Country Farm Credit Services, a customer-owned cooperative.
Good morning. Market update on the Red River Farm Network. I'm Randy Conan. Grain markets continue to trade mixed here this morning. Lowen and Associates market advisor Tyson Lowen says the soybeans have been leading here today.
Seeing some strength in the soybeans, which we did see in the overnight as well. But the rest of the grains, corn and wheat markets have been lower in the overnight session, continue to do so here with corn leading the charts lower. Not a whole lot of news flow in terms of major events. Of course, we've got tariff headlines circulating per usual. Did have some pretty good export inspections yesterday. Had a good corn, bean, and wheat number, but milo was disappointing, of course. And then we had crop progress to digest as well, with corn and soybean plantings moving right along.
And Lowen says not a lot of news either for the livestock trade.
We did have cattle on feed report that came out on Thursday afternoon. Cattle opened up higher yesterday, but just faded for the rest of the day. Although live cattle did hold up pretty well, I would attribute that to last week's negotiated cash trade that was around 210 in Texas and Kansas and up to 214 in Nebraska. So that was par with where futures were at. And then we're looking higher again here this morning. So just hope we can hold on to these gains.
Cash cattle trade pretty quiet here this morning as well. Bids and asking prices have not yet been established this week. Cutouts today are expected to be higher with light to moderate box movement. The Dow Jones Industrial Average, we are currently trading 688 points higher. We're at 38,858. This is the Red River Farm Network. Here's the latest from CHS Ag Services. CHS Ag Services Lake Bronson location sales agronomist Bo Spildy is with us. Bo, let's talk starter fertilizers. Tell me a little more about Levosol ZN.
Levosol ZN is a zinc solution that is made to enhance nutrient availability when applied with liquid starter fertilizer. Most soils have many micronutrients that are being underutilized because they are bound to negatively charged soil components. Levosol ZN makes it so that zinc, copper, and iron doesn't bind with phosphorus, making more phosphorus available. With many guys already using an in-furrow starter, it is an easy add to the tank with a 1 to 4 quart an acre use rate. Call your local CHS representative for more details.
With 20 locations in northeast North Dakota and northwest Minnesota, CHS Ag Services. CHS Ag Services, providing solutions for your success.
The Red River Farm Network is reporting on the happenings in Bismarck with the North Dakota Legislative Report. Each Friday morning at 6:37, you'll hear from lawmakers and ag leaders. This special coverage made possible by NDFB, Ag Country Farm Credit Services, North Dakota Grain Growers Association, Northern Pulse Growers Association, North Dakota Farmers Union, and the North Dakota Corn Growers Association. The North Dakota Legislative Report, Fridays on the Red River Farm Network. Sign up for the Red River Farm Network's weekly e-newsletter. FarmNet News arrives in your inbox every Monday morning. American Sugar Beet Growers Association President Neil Rockstead is a subscriber.
That weekly email that the Red River Farm Network comes out with is my go-to place for ag news. If there's only one thing that I read all week in regards to ag news in the Red River Valley and nationwide, it's always your email, hands down.
FarmNet News, delivering news to your email every Monday. Subscribe at rrfn.com.
May wheat Minneapolis, penny and 3/4 higher, 6.01 1/4. Chicago May wheat's up 1/4 penny. Kansas City May wheat's up 3/4 of a penny now. May corn down 4.5 cents, 4.77 1/4. December corn down 7 at 4.57 3/4. May soybeans are a penny higher at 10.30 1/2. November soybeans now down a penny and 1/4, 10.24 1/2. In Winnipeg, May canola down $7.20 a metric ton higher, 6.6640 Canadian. June live cattle up $1.57, 205.32. The May feeder cattle up $1.50 at 287.02. And the May lean hogs are 65 cents higher at 91.67. This is the Red River Farm Network.
Community is important, and you'll find it at Pioneer Point. Spacious apartments, thoughtfully designed for older adults, provide the best in senior living. Heated parking and elevator access makes life easy. Your neighbors at Pioneer Point hold a welcoming, family-like approach to living. Choosing from an array of special features and options, you'll find many ways to define your lifestyle at Pioneer Point. Call or schedule your tour online today at pioneercare.org.
Keeping you company out on the lakes. The Minnesota Twins and News Talk 1250 AM KBRF. Depend on it.
Hey, it's game day again for the Minnesota Twins. I'm Chris Atterbury. Join me alongside Dan Gladden. We hit the air at 6:40 first pitch. Bailey Ober and the Twins tangling with the Chicago White Sox on your home for Twins baseball.
News Talk 1250 AM KBRF. Depend on it.
KBRF presents Where to Eat, the culinary adventure, sponsored by Dandelion and Burdock and Service Food in Fergus Falls.
Hi, I'm Zach Daniels.
And I'm Dave Bishop, your guide to the region's culinary treasures.
Join us as we explore various restaurants, uncover delicious meals, and highlight each restaurant's signature dish.
Experience diverse cuisine types, unique atmospheres, and must-try dishes. Check it out on KBRFradio.com and the Fergus Now app.
New episodes air every first Friday of the month. Where to Eat, powered by Dandelion and Burdock and Service Food of Fergus Falls.
Let's get planting with seeds and started sets from Nature's Garden World. Get a head start on your garden now. Nature's has seed potatoes and all seeds in bulk or in packets. Contact Nature's Garden World now for landscape projects, including lawn irrigation systems to secure the best crew in the business. Nature's Garden World is now open Monday through Saturdays, 9 to 5. Call in or stop in at Nature's Garden World, Highway 210 East in Fergus Falls for everything for a beautiful summer.
News Talk 1250 KBRF. Listen anytime, any place with that Fergus Now app. You can also stream us on the Fergus Now app or KBRFradio.com. Click into the podcast, click Morning Talk, and you will find Mary and I right there. Well, as we go through today, we're going to see partly sunny, and then it's going to turn sunny and breezy. Winds out of the west at about 20, gusting 30, topping out at 64. 38 tonight's low. 57 for Wednesday's high. We'll hit 57 for tomorrow. More rain possible Thursday into Thursday night. 57 Friday, 56 Saturday, Sunday. Topping out at 62. They chance of seeing some showers and thunderstorms. More showers and thunderstorms on Monday and 69. Right now, Fergus Falls sitting in at 48, cloudy. This is Morning Talk. Brought to you today and every day by our good friends over at Pioneer Care and at Fergus Monument.
You know, as you were talking about the weather, a week ago yesterday was the first baseball game that I had gone to. It was about 100-mile-an-hour wind. I mean, actually, probably 40-mile-an-hour wind, but it was awful. And it was raining, and it was cold, and it was just the worst.
Yeah.
They ended up calling the game. They said due to light or darkness, rather. But I kind of think everybody was just sick of baseball.
Yeah.
And anyway, yesterday was the second game I went to. What a difference 1 week makes.
Yes.
It was absolutely beautiful out there.
And we were talking earlier when this happened. You were like, I can't believe the city does not have the electricity to the ballpark. I'm like,
It
no.
wasn't them. They were putting in new lights. Is that what you said?
They're in the process of putting in new lights. So the
Okay.
new lights are, they're taking them out and putting them in. So there's no lights to turn on really
Okay.
right now. They're
Well,
in the
thankfully,
process of
I mean, they were starting at the second game about 6:15-ish or so
Ooh,
last
that's-
night.
Yeah.
So I think they will. I mean, I think they would finish without the lights if they're not
Yeah.
yet ready. But anyway, oh my gosh, it was so nice to sit out there yesterday. I just had a light long sleeve shirt on and a pair of jeans, and it was so comfortable. Everybody else was in shorts and t-shirts, but I was very comfortable in what I had on, and it just was so fun. I mean, baseball games can get kind of long. Oh
Yes.
my goodness. But it was such a joy to be out there yesterday. And of course, we're hanging out with lots of friends and people we know. And relatives and they're doing the same thing, and it was such a great day for baseball.
And I know we were also talking about, Tuesday last week we did a doubleheader for softball
Right.
for the outer girls, and wow, that was chilly
Yeah,
to be out there for 5 hours.
you had some cold stuff. Well, they played 2 games last night, but the second game was the JV, so
Yeah.
I didn't have a horse in that race, so I didn't stay for the second one. But it was absolutely beautiful. So track meet today.
Oh.
And temperature wise, it sounds like it's going to be okay. Maybe a little breeze, but
Yeah, a little bit of breezy, but
yeah.
that'll help on the backstretch.
Yeah. So I hope they're running with the wind, right? Let's see what else we've got for you today. This does not surprise me. There's a story out, and the headline reads, "Only 1 in 10 Americans feel good about their finances." We've said this before. I'd hate to be like a financial
Person right now.
guy right now or woman. I would hate to be in that position because I have a feeling they have to make a lot of phone calls and talk a lot of people off the ledge. Because people,
Yeah.
it looks ugly now. But if you're so much better off just hanging in there, and I think it's better. I think you're better off just not to even look. Just don't look.
I look at it this way. I mean, I'm 47, so I've got a ways to go before I'm retiring, and right now it's just a paper loss.
Right.
Stocks and 401ks, those investments,
And
they'll come back.
at our age, we had moved some things into some areas that we
A little
don't
more
really
secure.
have to worry about. They're pretty secure. And so, but at the same time, you hate to see that market go down, down, down,
Yeah.
and you hate to even think what it's doing to your investments. But anyway, I think, and maybe this is just head in the sand, and I'm good at that. Just don't even
Don't look.
because it's not going to change anything,
No.
and you're probably not going to do anything with it. So I don't know what your financial people would tell you to do, but I think it's a good idea. If I was advising you, I'd say just don't look.
But then again, the current administration was put into place because of the economy, and it's
But we have to remember that we are 3 months in
Yep.
with this administration, and nothing is going to happen that fast. We are not going to see everything turn around in 3 months. And I'm really trying hard to trust the process and know that this administration has America's best, I mean, that's what they're doing. They want the very best for this country. I truly believe that. And I think that's where we're headed. But is there going to be some pain along the way? You bet. And we're in it.
Yep.
And it's going to get worse. I really think it will. I think we're going to feel the pain for a while because nothing happens that fast.
Yeah, but you got to
Well, a lot of
realize
things
if
happen pretty darn fast.
Yeah, I was gonna say,
but economy, and energy and getting the pipelines going and building manufacturing plants, all those sorts of things that down the road are going to make a significant difference to us here in the United States. Things goals we're aiming toward, but none of those things happen overnight.
yeah, but you can throw them a lifeline, but if the person's drowned, it's kind of pointless.
Well, true. But anyway, it's one of those things. And sometimes in the morning, I think, you know what? And this morning I thought, I'm just going to go out for a walk. It's so beautiful.
Oh, it was a gorgeous morning.
And I thought, that is so much better for my mental health than watching the news. And I get here and I get it anyway. I always try to kind of know what's going on before I get here. But today I chose to just get outside, go for a walk, get some things done around the house, and just let the news be the news. It's like watching a soap opera anyway. It's the same old every single day. Anyway, but as mentioned, only 1 in 10 Americans feel good about their finances. They say only about 13% feel very good about their finances. I don't know too many people who would say that. Like, I feel great about where we sit.
I know a couple, but they're multimillionaires. So
Yeah. Out of 2,000 adults, 51% say economic uncertainty is driving them to learn more about financial health. And I think that's true. Maybe none of us have paid that close of attention as we do now, because things are changing dramatically from one day to the next, and there's some uncertainty for sure. We don't know how that's all going to shake out. Anyway, and a lot more people because of it, and because of some of the sky is falling reporting that we're hearing from national news sources. I think a lot of people are pulling back. They're taking a look at their finances more than they ever have before. They're spending differently just because they're uncertain of where things are going to go. And I don't think that's ever a bad thing.
No.
Maybe if we'd been more careful with that in the first place, a lot of us wouldn't be in, the financial shape you're in. Anyway, they say it's much more about, it's not just about fixing your finances, it's about feeling capable, and more than that, to get to a position where you're in control.
Yeah.
And some of that control is always out of our control, it feels like. But anyway. All right. We know a lot of TikTok people that's how they do business, right?
That's their source of income. Yep.
Yep, that's how they sell their stuff. Well, creators who sell goods online, particularly on TikTok, are preparing to pivot in the event of another ban or costly tariffs. So they're seeing the writing on the wall, the potential writing on the wall, and Chinese goods could soon face tariffs as high as 245%, which could place TikTok sellers in a really not.
God tells you where the TikTokers are getting their stuff.
Doesn't it? Yeah. In this business, if you're not prepared for ups and downs, you're in the wrong business. And if it happens, there's going to be a workaround in some way, or the market will just pivot to something else. So they're kind of ahead of the game, if you will, trying to find the something else that will sell whatever it is they're selling. And, I know that you probably make the most money on Chinese goods. Because
Cheaper.
you buy them so cheaply, but you get to pay for. But you know what? We should be supporting American companies.
Yeah.
And it's hard to do. Have you ever looked at? I mean, you look at every tag on everything you buy. It's not made here.
Nope.
It's hard. It's hard to shop American. Anyway. Okay, let's see what else we have for you. This happened in LA and nobody knows why. And this is so sad. Los Angeles police are searching for a vandal who allegedly chopped down dozens of shade trees in the dead of night. Large trees were felled on multiple streets, including South Grand Avenue and Olympic Boulevard, between Friday night and Saturday night, officials say. They have no idea why someone would just start chopping down trees. And that's no small task.
No, that's not exactly a quiet task either.
I was going to say, are you chopping or are you using a
chainsaw?
I mean, and how did they get through dozens of trees?
With nobody noticing.
With nobody knowing, yeah. Anyway, it's in a downtown area, so there's not a lot of opportunity for those trees to grow. And anyway, a man surveying the damage said that a suspect has not yet been apprehended.
And it's downtown LA, so there's got to be cameras everywhere.
You'd sure think so. And why? There'll be some crazy, stupid reason when they finally find the guy. So we talked a lot last week about people aren't going to be searching for eggs at Easter because they were just too darn expensive. Well, in Belgium, they decided, yep, eggs are too expensive. We're going to hide beers.
I love that idea.
So they were hopping for beer this Easter. They hosted its annual World's Biggest Beer Hunt.
This is genius.
Yeah, where adults searched for 12,000 hidden bottles of beer. One special golden beer allowed its finger to claim a prize of their weight in beer.
Oh.
Yeah. So that'd be a lot of beer, huh?
I know where I'm going next Easter.
All right, well, there you go. Sunday's event began with a chocolate egg hunt for the kids, and then about 1,000 beer hunters descended on the grassy field.
Now, this year we did it a little different. We didn't actually hide the eggs. Jen set this up where you put a little string in one end, because we use plastic eggs. She puts, the trinkets, a little money, a little lottery tickets, whatever, and some candy and the plastic eggs, and then put a piece of yarn through it, and then it went through a kind of a toilet paper tube, so you really couldn't trace it. And so you'd pull on, and that'd be your egg. So you'd pull on the string, move it, and that would be your egg to grab. So you weren't searching for them, but it was like everybody took turns. And
She's so creative.
yeah, it was.
My
Kids
goodness.
really enjoyed that one.
Okay. Well, we postponed ours until everybody is back from Phoenix.
Yeah.
So going out for a graduation, and when we get back, we're gonna do Easter 2, if you will, because we never got Easter in with our grandkids. So I still have some time to be creative. I'm not saying that I will, but our grandkids are getting a little too old. I don't know if you're ever too old for Easter egg hunting, because we did it as adults.
Yeah. But that might be an idea, because, I mean,
Yeah.
our kids are like 22,
Yeah,
19, and
they
13.
still love it,
Oh,
you
yeah.
know, and they're getting good stuff.
Well,
you
yeah, I
know.
mean, anytime they get a chance to get some money, they're
Yeah,
like,
absolutely.
why, yes.
For sure. Okay, here is a woman by the name of Elsie Eller, and she lives in a place called Monawi, and she is the mayor, the librarian, the pub owner, and she's the only resident in town.
Well, I'd like to think she'd win the mayoral race.
The 94-year-old Nebraskan keeps parts of the town up and running for tourists passing through, and she said, I refuse to leave. I know I could always move closer to my kids or stay with them whenever I want, but then I'd have to make all new friends again, she said. If you head over and you feel like a beer and you come to the Manawi Tavern, you'll find reasonable prices. Hamburgers cost just $3.50, and hot dogs are only $1.25. So there you go.
I love she's the only resident, but she'd have to make new friends
Yeah, well, her friends must live outside of town.
and then come in.
Yeah, I don't know. Okay, 2 trivia questions, and they're both super easy. Even a girl like me could answer these.
You said that, but the last time you said that, I'd gotten one right.
Well, I kind of think you're going to need, or that you're going to know both of these. What is the name of the oven used for baking pottery?
Oh, it's a kiln.
Yes. What ingredient makes cookies rise? This might be up in the air for you.
Cookies rise.
Yep. Think of what's in cookies and what potentially
Yeah,
can make
it'd
them
be
rise.
flour
No, it
or
isn't.
yeast.
Nope. There's no yeast in cookies.
That's what I was trying to think. I'm like, rise.
Yeah.
Normally you think rise, you think yeast. Sugar?
Baking soda.
Oh.
But cookies have salt too, and salt is a leavening agent, so maybe that has something to do with it. But baking soda is what makes your cookies.
I haven't made I've
Well, I
never
was gonna
made
say,
cookies
yeah,
from scratch.
that's kind of a baker's question. So you're probably not much of a
I
baker.
take the cookie dough out of the box and put it in and put it in the oven.
Oh, you do you? No, I love to make. I found a really, really good. A friend of mine brought chocolate chip cookies over one night, and she was thinking, chocolate chip cookies. And we tasted them and said, these are the best chocolate chip cookies we have ever eaten.
Nice.
And so she gave me the recipe, and it was no big secret. I think it's maybe off allrecipes.com or something. Anyway, it is the best chocolate chip cookie recipe in the land. I really think.
You should send that to me.
Okay, I will.
Jen makes homemade chocolate chip
And
cookies.
it's stuff you have. You don't have to go out and get anything. The only thing that I might not have is enough chocolate chips. But other than that, everything you've just got right there, and they're so good. But here's the secret. If I share this, it says bake for 10 minutes and bake for 10 minutes at 350. And they do not look anywhere near done, but do not bake them longer than 10 minutes.
Gotcha.
And when you pull them out, they're perfect. Yeah.
Nice.
So anyway, yeah, I may share that. We'll see. I'll share it with you for sure.
Yeah.
Because I think you'll like it. I think I've got it in my phone somewhere. I have shared it a number of times. And again, not my recipe. It came from one of those recipe sites.
Well, I mean, it's
no
like
secret.
the recipes I share on Morning Talk. I didn't come up with this stuff.
Yeah.
Like the
this
honey
isn't
chicken
like,
and
this
all
isn't,
that other
yeah,
stuff.
this isn't like a secret family recipe or anything like that. You know, we used to have, we had a dear friend, Diane Christensen. And for those of you who know Diane, you know that she baked the very best chocolate chip cookies
Yeah.
in the world. And no, that is absolutely the truth. And she baked more chocolate chip cookies than anyone I know. She was famous for them. And sadly, she died in an accident a number of years ago, along with her husband. And yeah, we miss her chocolate chip cookies. And when I'm making mine, in fact, my daughter said these are almost as good as Diane Christensen's.
Ooh.
So I think she still holds the title. I don't want to take that away from her
Yeah, I
because
knew
they were fabulous.
I knew Steve and Diane since I was like
Yes.
5. I grew up playing
I
hockey with
know.
Trevor.
Yeah, I know. So we miss her chocolate chip cookies, and she and Steve as well. They were great. Steve was great about visiting at my parents when my dad was kind of homebound, and just great people, great cookies. It was she was world renowned, I think, and these are almost. I would never say they're as good as Diane's, but they're getting there. And she's kind of my benchmark. That's what that's the goal.
That's what you
I'm
aim for.
always trying to reach. Yeah. All right. Coming up on 10 o'clock, that is going to wrap things up on a Tuesday. So thank you for joining us. Our show today and every day is brought to us by Pioneer Care and by Fergus Falls Monument Company. Here's hoping you have a great Tuesday.